I never thought I'd live to see Victoria Ashford on her knees, but here she is. Diamonds glinting at her throat, mascara streaming down her surgically perfected face, her Louboutins scraping against the marble floor of her own ballroom as 300 guests watch in horrified silence. Her lips are trembling. Her hands are clasped together like she's praying to a god she's never believed in. And she's looking up at me, the girl she called the help for 3 years. The girl whose name she refused to learn. The girl she once made eat her lunch outside in the rain because I'd dirtied her precious dining room with my presence. Please, she whispers, and the word cracks in the middle. Please, I'm begging you. My heart is thunder. My hands are steady. I'm wearing the black dress she once told me made me look like I was attending my own funeral, and tonight, in a way, I am. I'm burying the version of myself who took her abuse with silent tears. I'm burying the shame. I'm standing here in front of everyone who matters in this city, and I'm watching the woman who destroyed me beg. But let me back up. Because this moment, it's been 3 years in the making. My name is Grace Winters, and I came to the Ashford mansion the summer I turned 22. I had nothing. No family, no safety net, just a letter from a lawyer telling me my father was dead and that he'd left me precisely 0 inheritance. What he had left was a note, handwritten, shaky letters that said, "Find Richard Ashford." He owes you the truth. I didn't know what that meant. But I knew Richard Ashford was rich, powerful, untouchable. So I did the only thing I could think of. I applied to work in his house. I got the job. Kitchen staff, minimum wage, invisible. And then I met her. Victoria Ashford walked into the kitchen my first week like she owned the air itself. She was beautiful in that cold, calculated way. Blonde hair that cost more than my rent. A body sculpted by personal trainers and private chefs. Skin that had never seen a real day of work. She looked at me the way you'd look at a stain on expensive fabric. "You," she said, pointing one manicured finger. "Coffee black. Don't burn it like the last idiot. I made her coffee." She took one sip, wrinkled her nose, and poured it into the sink. "Useless," she muttered. That was day 1. Day 30, she slapped a tray out of my hands because I'd walked too loudly past her yoga session. Day 90, she fired another maid for talking to me, said we were conspiring. I learned to move like a shadow, to anticipate her moods, to disappear when she entered a room. And I hated her. God, I hated her. But I stayed. Because somewhere in this house was the truth my father wanted me to find, and because of him, Richard Ashford was nothing like his wife. Older, quieter, with gray threading through his dark hair and eyes that looked like they carried entire lifetimes of regret. He barely noticed me at first. I was just another face in the staff, but then one night, I found him in the library. He was staring at a photograph, old, faded. A young man with kind eyes standing beside another man who looked achingly familiar. "Who is that?" I asked before I could stop myself. He looked up, startled. Then his face did something strange, softened and shattered all at once. "Someone I failed," he said quietly. And that's when I knew. The man in the photo was my father. Richard starts watching me after that night, not obviously. Not the way Victoria watches, with suspicion and venom. Richard's attention is different, careful, almost guilty. He appears in doorways when I'm working, asks if I'm settling in. Once he stops me in the hallway and tells me I have my father's eyes. I freeze. "You knew him?" I did. His voice is barely a whisper. "And I'm sorry." "For what?" But he walks away before answering, and I'm left standing there with my heart racing and questions burning through my chest like wildfire. Victoria notices the change immediately. She's like a predator tuned to shifts in power, and suddenly I'm not just another servant. I'm something that's caught her husband's attention. That makes me dangerous. "You think you're special?" she hisses one morning, cornering me in the pantry. Her perfume is choking, expensive and overwhelming. "You think because Richard pities you, you matter? You're nothing. A charity case he'll forget by next week." I meet her eyes. For the first time, I don't look away. "Maybe," I say softly. "But he remembered my father for 30 years. Her face goes white, then red. Then she slaps me so hard my ears ring. "Get out of my sight," I leave. But I don't cry. Not anymore. I've learned that tears only feed her cruelty. That night, Richard finds me icing my cheek in the staff quarters. He doesn't ask what happened. He knows. He always knows. "She wasn't always like this," he says, sitting down across from me. The space between us feels electric, forbidden. When we married, she was different. Money changed her? No. He looks at me, and there's something raw in his expression. Losing him changed her. Losing who? Your father. He runs a hand through his hair. He was my business partner, my best friend. We built everything together. This house, the company, all of it. And when he died, his voice cracks. I promised him I'd take care of you if anything happened. But I didn't know you existed until it was too late. The room tilts. What? Your father kept you secret, protected you from this world. He knew what it would do to you. Richard's eyes are wet. He made me promise, Grace, and I failed him. I let you slip through the cracks. I let you end up here being treated like I'm nothing, I finish. You're not nothing. He reaches across the table and his hand hovers over mine. Doesn't touch. Almost does. The air between us crackles. You're everything he loved about this world. Everything good he wanted to protect. My breath catches. This close I can see the lines around his eyes, the silver in his stubble, the way his gaze drops to my lips before jerking away. This is wrong. He's married. He's twice my age. He's my employer. But God, the way he looks at me makes me feel seen. Why didn't you tell me? I whisper. Because Victoria can't know, not yet. If she finds out who you really are, a door slams upstairs. Footsteps, sharp, angry clicks of heels on marble. Richard pulls back like I've burned him. Go. Now. I slip out the back entrance just as Victoria's voice echoes down the hall, shrill and demanding. But I can still feel the ghost of his almost touch on my skin. The lawyer arrives on a Tuesday. I'm polishing silver in the dining room when he walks in. Crisp suit, leather briefcase. The kind of man who deals in secrets and contracts. Victoria is there, dripping in pearls, playing the perfect hostess. Richard is pale. Mr. Ashford, the lawyer says, we need to discuss your late partner's estate. Victoria's smile doesn't falter, but her eyes sharpen. Darling, I didn't know there was anything left to discuss. That was settled years ago. There's been a development. The lawyer glances at me, actually looks at me like I'm a person. It concerns Miss Winters. The room goes silent. Victoria's head swivels toward me so fast I hear her neck crack. The maid? Miss Winters? The lawyer continues, ignoring her. Is the sole beneficiary of your father's shares in Ashford and Winters Enterprises. 40% of the company. Per the partnership agreement, these shares were held in trust until her 25th birthday, or until she was located, whichever came first. I can't breathe. The silver fork in my hand clatters to the table. That's impossible, Victoria snaps. Richard, tell him that's impossible. But Richard is looking at me with something like pride. Like relief. Like he's been waiting for this moment. It's true, he says quietly. Her father built half this empire. She's entitled to her inheritance. Victoria's composure shatters. You brought her here knowing I brought her here because I owed her father everything. Richard stands. And I owe her the truth. The lawyer slides papers across the table. Miss Winters, you now own 40% of a company worth $3 billion. You'll need to sign— No. Victoria's voice is ice. Absolutely not. I won't let some nobody waltz in and— She's not a nobody. Richard's voice cuts through the room like a blade. She's family. More family than you've ever been. Oh, that lands. Victoria's face contorts, and for one breathless second I think she might lunge at him. Instead, she turns to me. You planned this, she hisses. You manipulative little— I didn't know, I say, and my voice is stronger than I expected. I came here looking for answers. Not money. Liar. Enough. Richard moves between us, and suddenly he's close enough that I can feel the heat radiating from his body. His hand brushes mine, intentional this time. Brief, electric. Grace, you don't have to decide anything today, but you deserve to know who you are. What you're owed. His thumb traces my knuckles just once, and it's the most intimate thing I've ever felt. Victoria sees it. I watch her clock the gesture, watch realization dawn in her eyes. Her husband isn't just protecting me. He wants me. You bastard, she breathes. Richard doesn't deny it, doesn't apologize. He just looks at her with 3 years of resentment finally surfacing. I'll be speaking to my lawyers, Victoria says, voice shaking. Then she storms out and the door slams hard enough to rattle the chandelier. The lawyer clears his throat. I'll leave the documents for your review. He exits and then it's just us. Me and Richard. standing too close in the ruins of his marriage. "I'm sorry," I whisper. "Don't be." His hand cups my face, and this time he doesn't pull away. His touch is warm, reverent, desperate. "I've been apologizing to your father's ghost for 3 years. I'm done apologizing for wanting to do the right thing." "Is this the right thing?" I ask, leaning into his palm. "I don't know." His thumb brushes my cheekbone. "But I know I can't watch her destroy you anymore." He kisses me, soft, careful, like I'm something precious he's afraid to break. And I kiss him back, tasting regret and hope and 3 years of unspoken words. The door opens. Victoria, standing there with her phone raised. "Smile," she says sweetly. "This is going to ruin you both." The photo goes viral within an hour. Millionaire Richard Ashford caught in scandalous affair with household staff. Social media explodes. News vans line the driveway. Victoria plays the wronged wife perfectly. Tears, interviews, the whole performance. She's calling me a gold digger, a homewrecker. Every cruel thing she ever whispered, now shouted from rooftops. I should run, hide, disappear like I'm good at. Instead, I call the lawyer back. "I want to accept my inheritance," I say. All of it, publicly. Richard finds me in my room, the tiny staff quarter I've lived in for 3 years. He looks wrecked, undone. "Grace, you don't have to fight her. I'll handle this." "No," I stand. "She's been handling me for too long. It's my turn. She'll destroy you. She already tried." I step closer. "Now I have 40% of your company and the truth on my side." "Let her try again." Something fierce ignites in his eyes. "You're terrifying, you know that?" "I learned from the best." I touch his chest, feeling his heart race. "From my father. From you." He kisses me harder this time. No hesitation, no guilt. Just hunger and respect and something that feels dangerously close to love. "I'm leaving her," he says against my lips. "Tonight." I should have done it years ago. "She won't make it easy." "I don't care." His hands frame my face. I'm tired of easy. "I want real. I want you. We don't sleep. We plan. The shareholder meeting is tomorrow." Victoria thinks she's won. Thinks the scandal will force me out, make me too toxic to claim my shares. She doesn't know I've been collecting evidence. Every insult, every slap, every illegal firing and abusive tirade. 3 years of documentation, timestamps, witnesses. Richard stands beside me as we enter the boardroom. The board members stare. Whisper. Judge. Victoria is already seated at the head of the table, regal and venomous. "Gentlemen," she begins, "I move that we reject Miss Winter's claim on the grounds of moral turpitude and—" "I have video evidence," I interrupt, "of Mrs. Ashford assaulting 6 different employees. Audio recordings of discriminatory comments, and testimonies from 12 staff members willing to testify about her abuse." The room goes silent. "You're bluffing," Victoria says, but her voice wavers. I play the first recording, her voice crystal clear. "If you weren't so pathetically poor, maybe you'd understand quality." Then another. "Get on your knees and pick that up. That's all you're good for." Board members shift uncomfortably. Richard watches his wife's mask crack. "This is fabricated," she snaps. "Then let's ask them." I gesture to the door, and 12 former employees walk in. The ones she fired. The ones she destroyed. They tell their stories. Each one more damning than the last. Victoria's lawyer whispers frantically in her ear. "Furthermore," I continue, "I'm not here to take anything from anyone. I'm here to claim what my father built, what he earned, and I'm proposing we restructure the company to include profit sharing for all employees, starting with fair wages for household staff." The board members nod, impressed, surprised. Victoria stands, shaking. "You've ruined everything." "No," I say calmly. "I've just stopped letting you ruin me." She looks at Richard, desperate. "You're really choosing her?" He doesn't hesitate. "Yes," and that's when she breaks. Completely. She lunges at me, screaming. Security stops her. Gently, firmly. "This meeting is adjourned," the chairman says. "Miss Winter's claim is approved. Mrs. Ashford, please leave the premises." She's escorted out, shouting threats that no one believes anymore. Richard takes my hand. Public. Proud. "You okay?" He whispers. "I'm free," I say. The charity gala is Victoria's last stand. She demanded one final event. Her name still on the invitations. Her reputation still intact enough to draw 300 of the city's elite. She thinks she can salvage this. Control the narrative. Paint me as the villain and herself as the victim. But she doesn't know Richard and I have made our relationship public. She doesn't know the board sided with me unanimously. She doesn't know the lawyers have already drawn up divorce papers. She doesn't know she's already lost. I wear the black dress she hated. The one she said made me look like I was attending my own funeral. Tonight it feels like armor, like resurrection. When I walk in on Richard's arm, the room stops. Literally stops. Champagne glasses pause mid-sip. Conversations demid-sentence. 300 pairs of eyes lock onto us, and the weight of their stares is intoxicating, terrifying, perfect. And Victoria, standing near the grand staircase in a gown that probably cost more than most people's cars, goes absolutely rigid. Her champagne flute trembles in her hand. For just a second, I see fear flicker across her face before the mask snaps back into place. "Grace," Richard murmurs, his hand warm and steady against my back. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do." I squeeze his hand. For every girl she ever made feel small. For every person she crushed because she could. We cross the ballroom. With every step, people part like the Red Sea. Some smile, genuine, supportive. Some glare, Victoria's remaining allies. Most just stare, hungry for the scandal they came here hoping to witness. Victoria meets us at the center of the room, right beneath the chandelier where light catches her diamonds and makes her look like she's wearing stars. Her smile is poison dipped in honey. "How brave of you to show your face here," she says, voice dripping with false sweetness. "After everything." "How brave of you," I reply evenly, considering what everyone here is about to learn. Her eyes flicker, uncertain. The smile wavers. I raise my voice. Not shouting, just clear, commanding, carrying across marble and crystal and expensive perfume. For 3 years, Mrs. Ashford employed me as household staff. For 3 years, she abused, humiliated, and demeaned me and countless others. She made people cry for sport. She destroyed careers because someone looked at her wrong. She thought money made her untouchable. That cruelty was her birthright. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Murmurs. Phones appear. Recording. But what she didn't know, I continue, was that I'm the daughter of Marcus Winters, Richard's late partner, the man who built half of everything the Ashfords own, the man she spent years erasing from history. The murmurs become exclamations. Victoria's face drains of color, foundation suddenly stark against her pallor. I own 40% of Ashford and Winters Enterprises. I have the full support of the board of directors. And I have evidence of every cruelty this woman has inflicted, not just on me, but on dozens of people whose only crime was working for her. "You're lying," Victoria hisses, but her voice cracks. "Breaks." "Am I?" I pull out my phone, tap play. Her voice, vicious and crystal clear, echoes through the ballroom speakers. "You're nothing. Less than nothing. You should be grateful I even let you breathe my air." Someone in the crowd gasps. "Oh my God, another recording. Get on your knees and pick that up. That's all you're good for anyway." Faces in the crowd shift from curious to disgusted, from entertained to horrified. Victoria's composure shatters like the champagne flute she drops. It explodes against marble, and the sound is somehow louder than everything else. She lunges for my phone. Richard steps between us, solid and immovable. "Don't," he says quietly, protectively, final. "You've poisoned him." Victoria spits at me, mascara already starting to run. "You've destroyed my marriage, my life. You're a manipulative little—" "You destroyed your own marriage," I say, and my voice doesn't shake. "I just refuse to be your victim anymore." There's a difference. The crowd is watching like this is the best theater they've seen in years, and maybe it is. And then Victoria does something I never expected. She drops knees, hitting marble with a crack that makes people wince, hands clasped together, diamonds glinting in the chandelier light. Tears, real or manufactured, I genuinely can't tell, streaming down her face, carving tracks through foundation that cost more than my first month's salary. "Please," she chokes out, and her voice is raw, desperate. "Please, I'm begging you. Don't do this. I'll apologize. I'll make it right. Just don't ruin me." The ballroom holds its breath. 300 people waiting to see what I'll do, what mercy looks like when the roles are finally reversed. I look down at her. This woman who terrorized me, who made me feel worthless, who's now kneeling in front of everyone she ever tried to impress, everyone whose approval she bought with fear and money and carefully orchestrated charity events. And I feel nothing. No triumph, no rage, no satisfaction, just exhausted, just done. I'm not doing this for revenge, I say quietly, but my voice still carries. I'm not ruining you, Victoria. You ruined yourself. I'm doing this so no one else has to kneel and beg for basic human dignity ever again. I turn to the crowd away from her and raise my voice. I'm establishing the Marcus Winters Foundation for employees in domestic service, hospitality, any industry where people are treated as less than, legal aid, education grants, protection from workplace abuse, fully funded by my inheritance, because my father built his fortune believing everyone deserved dignity, and I'm going to make sure his legacy reflects that. Applause. Tentative at first, then building, genuine, thunderous. Victoria is still kneeling, makeup streaked and trembling. She looks up at Richard, desperate for him to save her. To defend her, to choose her, he offers her nothing. No comfort. No false reconciliation. No backward glance. He simply turns to me. And in front of 300 people, in front of cameras and phones and tomorrow's headlines, he kisses me. Slow, deep, reverent, claiming me in the best possible way. When we part, he whispers against my lips, "Your father would be so proud of you." My eyes sting. I hope so. God, I hope so. I know so. He takes my hand. Come on, let's go home. We walk out together, past Victoria still frozen on the floor where she put herself, past the crowd that parts for us like we're royalty, past the cameras and the whispers and the ruins of her carefully constructed world. Outside, under stars that feel impossibly bright after 3 years of darkness, Richard pulls me close. "What now?" he asks, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Now, I smile and it feels real, whole. Now we build something better, something my father would actually recognize. Together. Together, he echoes and kisses me again, softer this time, like a promise. Somewhere behind us, the gala continues without its hostess. Victoria's world crumbles. But out here in the quiet, I'm finally free. Free from her cruelty. Free from shame. Free from being invisible. Free to be exactly who my father always hoped I'd become, strong, unbreakable, seen. And as Richard holds me like I'm the most valuable thing in his world, I realize something profound. Revenge isn't making someone kneel, it's standing tall when they swore you never would. It's building something, beautiful from the ashes of their cruelty. It's choosing dignity over destruction. I chose dignity, and I won.